Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the St. Mark's Kids Chat. I have a couple of announcements for you guys for this month and for next month. This month, on November 21st, we are doing what's called the Sunday School Family Fun Day. Everyone should have gotten this little flyer in the mail. If not, you can actually go online and get all the information. What we're doing is we're doing a craft, game, and service project day on Saturday, November 21st from 1 to 2:30. And it's going to be a fun day for all of the Sunday school families to get together. We're going to do some fun crafts. We're actually going to do this craft in Sunday school this week too, which will be really fun. And part of what we're doing is a service project for Operation Christmas Child. And some of you guys may have already seen this, but basically what we're doing is we're packing boxes for children in need in all around the world, all ages. So what we're doing is we're collecting things and donations to put inside of these little shoe boxes. So you can kind of see how big it is. It's about the size of a shoe box. And so we have several of these that we're going to be packing on November 21st at this event with all of the kids. So if you can bring items to put inside of these boxes, things such as toys or maybe small little shirts or something like that that can be rolled up, crafts, toothbrushes, things like that. What we ask is you don't put in here is stuff like candy, don't put any food or liquids or breakable items or toys that are related to war or anything like that. So there's a list on the Operation Christmas Child website that you can look into. There's also information on our website on how you can bring items for this. You can also contact Sina. Sina is going to be running this event, and so if you have questions about what items to bring, contact her. Otherwise, if you want to fill one of these boxes on your own, if you aren't able to come to the event on the 21st, we're going to have these boxes available at church. And so you can bring those in. We have to deliver them back by the 23rd. So we definitely need them filled back by that time. Alrighty, so the other thing that we have going on is in December, on December 19th, at sunset, we are going to do a walk-through nativity scene live. So there'll be a bunch of live actors acting out all of the nativity scenes. So it'll be really fun. So mark your calendars on that, and more information will be coming out. We are also going to be doing some nativity things and activities and crafts that we're going to be sending home with all of the kids later in the month. So more information to come on that. Okay, now let's get down to our lesson. So our lesson this week for Sunday school is from Genesis chapter 18. And it's about when Abraham gets 3 visitors, and it also relates to Sodom and Gomorrah. So we're going to talk about these things in our lesson. So let's rewind a little bit for the last couple of weeks that we've talked about Abram, which remember his name was Abram at that time, but now his name is called Abraham. And Abraham means, if you translate it, it means the father of many. Did you know that? So that's what it translates to. Abraham translates to the father of many. So why do you, and Sarah also had her name changed from Sarai to Sarah. So, and that's Abraham's wife, since they were going to be the parents of many people. So Abraham had 3 visitors come and visit him. And God also appeared to him during this time as well. And guess what one of the visitors said to him. What do you think? I don't know. Well, previously they said that Abraham and Sarah were going to have a child of their own flesh and blood, right? Mm-hmm. And did they know anything else, back then about that yet? They didn't know, right? So at this visit, one of the visitors who came to visit him, these visitors were sent from God. One of them said to her, and to him, both of them, that when in 1 year from now, I'm going to come back, and you are going to have a child. And guess how old Sarah was at this time?
Like 100?
Well, almost, yeah. She was 89, which means that at the age of 90, 1 year later, she was going to have a child at 90 years old. What do you think about that? Do most people have children at 90 years old?
No.
Not really, right? But God can do amazing things. Because when Sarah heard this, she kind of laughed. She was like, what are you talking about? I'm 90 years old. How can I have a child at 90 years old? Right? But guess what? God does amazing things, right? Do we ever underestimate what God can do? Never. Okay. So these visitors, they were welcomed into Abraham's house, and he gave them food and gave them this news. And as they were leaving, guess what happened?
What?
As they were leaving, they were looking off into the distance at a place called Sodom and Gomorrah. And Sodom and Gomorrah, it was a place full of a lot of sinful people, right? And the Lord was there with them, and also said to Abraham that he was kind of having plans to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. But Abraham was a little nervous about that. He was like, ooh, he pleaded with the Lord. He said, please, what about the righteous people? Who are righteous people? What about the righteous
People
people?
who believe in God.
Yeah, right? Like, what about the people who believe in God? What's going to happen to them if you destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Mm-hmm. So, God said, and so Abraham said, what if there's 50 people there who are, if there are 50 righteous people? And he said, oh, okay, but then what about if there's 40 people or 30 people or 20 people or just 10 people? What if there's just 10 people who are righteous? Will you save Sodom and Gomorrah just to save those people? And guess what God did?
He did.
He did. He said, because I will not destroy it for those 10. So he did an amazing thing, right? God did an amazing thing to save the lives of those people. Did those people deserve it? No, they didn't deserve it. So we're going to do a little activity about that down here. Why don't you guys come and have a seat? And we're going to kind of go over this little activity that relates to Sodom and Gomorrah. So have a seat. Can you guys see everything in here? All right. So now, Sodom and Gomorrah, remember we talked about, was a place full of sin, right? Right? So let me ask you something. What protects us from our sin now? God. Well, be more specific. What specifically?
The Holy Spirit.
Okay, yeah. And what did Jesus have to do in order to protect us from our sin?
Died on the cross.
He died on the cross, right? So I want you guys to pretend that this orange right here, and this peel that's on this orange, is our faith, right? Our faith that protects us from our sin. This water is going to represent our sin, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this orange in here like this, right? And I want you to see what happens. What's happening to the orange?
It looks like it grew bigger, but it's floating.
Well, other than that, what is it doing right now?
Floating.
It's floating, right? It's floating. So let's pretend that this other orange, which I've taken the peel off of, right? I've taken the covering, the protective covering of our faith off of this, right? Off of this orange. I want you to see what happens if I drop it in there like that. Right? What happened?
Floated down.
It went down, right? Like, can you imagine just drowning in all of your sin, right? Like, we don't deserve that protection, right? That our faith gives us. But guess who gives it to us anyway?
Jesus.
God.
Yeah, Jesus, right? Jesus protects us from our sin even though we don't deserve it. So I want you to remember that from this story, right? Because, God could have chosen to destroy all of those people in Sodom and Gomorrah, right? But he chose not to because there was at least 10 people who were righteous in there, right? So which one would we rather be? Would we rather drown in our sin and be destroyed, or would we rather stay afloat up here? Which one? That's the one that we'd rather be, right? Exactly. So I want you guys to remember that this week, that God protects us and he also does amazing things. All right, everybody?
Amazing.
All right? All righty. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.